I went to my professor's office for extra credit and found his body. His office was on the 3rd floor of this creepy building that was always empty after 4 p.m. I texted my roommate Holden on the way over, telling him I'd be back late because I had to kiss up to Adomo for at least an hour. He texted back a thumbs up and told me good luck. I climbed the stairs to his floor and walked down the long hallway to his office. The door was closed and I knocked twice. No answer. I knocked again and called his name. Still nothing. I tried the doorknob and it turned, so I pushed the door open. Professor Adomo was slumped over his desk with his head down like he'd fallen asleep. I said his name again, louder this time, and that's when I saw the blood pooling underneath his head and dripping onto the floor. I screamed and pulled out my phone to call the police. Campus security got there first, then real police officers, then detectives in suits. They asked me a million questions while I stood in the hallway shaking. How did you get in? Was the door locked? Who else knew about this meeting? I told them the door was unlocked when I got there, that I just turned the knob and walked in. That's when one of the detectives checked the door and his face changed. He called the other detective over and they both looked at the lock, then looked at me. The detective explained that this door locks automatically from the inside when you close it. You need a key to unlock it from the hallway, or you have to turn the deadbolt from inside the office. If the door was unlocked when I arrived, someone had to unlock it from the inside right before I got there. The windows don't open and there's no other way out of the room. I was the only person in that hallway. They took me down to the police station. A detective named Williams listed all the evidence against me like he was reading off a shopping list. I had a reason to want him dead because I was failing his class and had sent him emails begging to pass. I had a meeting scheduled in his calendar, so I had opportunity. My fingerprints were all over his office because I'd been in there before. The security camera at the building's main entrance showed me walking in, but nobody else had entered for 2 whole hours before that. The weapon was a heavy stone bookend from his shelf, and they found my prints on books near it. I told them someone else had to be there, but they just stared at me like I was making it up. How could someone else be there in a locked room? I kept thinking about everyone who might want to hurt him. There was his teaching assistant who people said he was sleeping with. There was the student he failed who posted angry stuff about him online. There was his ex-wife who he was fighting with over their kids. I remembered weird things from the crime scene that didn't make sense. His coffee cup was still warm when I touched it. His computer was open to an email he was typing. His jacket was thrown over his chair like he'd just gotten there. None of it felt right. I asked Detective Williams about the timing, when exactly he died, but he wouldn't tell me anything. They kept me there for 6 hours asking the same questions over and over until finally they let me go home, but told me not to leave town. 3 days later, Detective Williams called and told me to come back to the station immediately. I thought he was going to arrest me, and I almost threw up in the car on the way there. But when I got to his office, he showed me a paper with a bunch of numbers and charts on it. He explained that based on how cold the body was and how stiff it had gotten, Professor Adomo had been dead for at least 3 hours before I even walked into that building. There was no way I killed him. I felt like I could breathe for the first time in days, but then he asked the question that made my blood run cold. So who unlocked that door? They'd gone back through all the security footage and found something they missed before. Someone left through the emergency exit stairwell at the back of the building 2 hours before my appointment. That stairwell doesn't have cameras, but it sets off a silent alarm when you open it. Whoever killed Professor Adomo heard me coming up the stairs, ran to unlock his door from the inside, then slipped out through the emergency exit while I was walking down the hallway. They used my appointment to escape and make me look guilty. Detective Williams pulled up a grainy photo on his computer from a camera near the stairwell. Do you recognize this person? I leaned forward to look at the screen and my whole body went cold. It was Holden, my roommate, the guy I texted before going into that building, the guy who told me good luck. The detective frowned at his computer and said he was supposed to come in for a witness statement an hour ago, but he never showed up. My phone buzzed in my pocket. I pulled it out and saw a text from Holden that made my hands start shaking. I know you talked to them. I'm so sorry it has to be this way. Then he sent me a photo. Full story on the channel below.